Today I'm going to be sharing with you how we transformed our very ugly chimney breast wall and restored it back to what it would have looked like in Victorian times with a focal Victorian fireplace feature point. Now, I will say before this video starts, this is a non-working fireplace. We purely added it back in for aesthetic purposes, but of course it could be made into a working fireplace if we wanted to in the future. And if that is something you're also considering, please always seek professional advice, as it's really something you do not want to do wrong. So today I'm going to be sharing with you what it looked like before, the process, how we did it for so cheap, and what it looks like now. And I really can't wait to share this with you because it's been super popular on my blog and it's been shared with lots of news outlets over the past few months. And yeah, keep watching if you want to do something similar in your own property. Now, as you can see, when we moved into the property, the chimney breast wall had been boarded up with a plastic acrylic sheet. It looked absolutely disgusting, and behind it there was obviously an opening. There had once been a fireplace that was there. It is a Victorian terrace house, so there definitely would have been an original at some point. I'm personally a huge fan of letting the architectural parameters of a property speak and lead in your design. So when we purchased the property, I knew that I wanted to incorporate some of those Victorian antiquated details whilst creating a modern look. And obviously the first thing that you see when you walk into our living room, at least, is the fireplace. So that was one of the first things that I wanted to restore. Now, I knew we did not want to buy a brand new full price fireplace. As you'll see online, they're hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and if you actually want to get it installed as well, you're probably looking up to anything upwards of £1,000. And the whole purpose of this was to show that you can get a designer look on very much of a price tag. And we actually restored our fireplace, obviously it's not working, to under £100. So the first thing really, before we started like excavating the hole and making it a little bit bigger, was actually to find our fireplace. Now, if you're looking to acquire a cast iron fireplace on a budget, two main places spring to mind for me. First one is Facebook Marketplace, absolutely amazing. Make sure you just bookmark the search, keep looking every day when new things get added to your local area. We were looking for a little while, and then the perfect cast iron fireplace came up with a mantle. It was a pine mantle, and it was literally £50. So we picked it up in Cornwall, so it was about an hour drive for us, but it was super worth it. It was a replica Georgian cast iron fireplace. It was very sort of battered, it needed a lot of work doing to it, and obviously we were going to use the mantle as well, and we were going to paint it. The second place that you can pick up some really good fireplaces is from your local reclamation yard. We've got a couple around our area and they are absolutely amazing. They'll normally go and do like home repossessions and like home clear out, so do check those out as well. They're typically a little bit more expensive than Facebook Marketplace, but if you really do need to find one, that's one of the best places to go. You're always going to find loads there. And of course, do check out eBay, but again, you are going to have to pay some quite hefty delivery charges. So if you can get something locally, it's usually the best way to get a really good quality fireplace. So guys, we picked up this fireplace. I was super happy, and when we brought it home, we left it out the night before, and you just wouldn't believe what happened next. So I woke up in the morning, there'd been a strong gust of wind, and I was like, what is that noise? The whole cast iron fireplace has literally fallen right over, and the inside shaft of it has cracked in half. Like, at this point, I'm literally this close to crying. I was so upset. Luckily, we managed to cement it together. We had some spare cement and we were able to paint over the top. So disaster averted. But anyway, on with what we did with it next. So obviously the fireplace was really sort of very rusted, hadn't been cared to for a while. So the first thing we did is we bought a rough brush, but you can also use a wire wool brush, and we just brushed it over with some water to get rid of the rust that was on the top. And once that had been done and it was all sort of smooth, we let that to dry, and we literally just used Hammerite metal spray in black. And we did have to use a couple of coats to make sure it was, you know, appropriately covered. It did a really good job, and it sort of brought it back to looking brand new. And then of course we've got our mantle. The mantle was pine, and nothing against pine, but it's just not for the design look that I wanted to go for. So we sanded it back, gave it a really nice clean, and we just painted it in a couple of coats of satin white paint, which we used on our skirting boards, so the whole look really works together really well. And as you can see, it came out beautifully. But of course, you can do whatever you like with it. You can keep it existing wood if that's sort of the look that you want to go for, or you can paint it in your woodwork colour, whatever that is in your house as well. Okay, so let's talk about the installation side of things. As you'll see, we already had an existing hole, but for the fireplace to actually fit into it, we did need to make it slightly bigger, and this is where you may need to seek professional advice. If you have to excavate too much of the hole, you may need to put a lintel in that's going to support that chimney breast wall. We luckily didn't need a lintel, but we did still seek professional advice to make sure that that wasn't the case. And lintels aren't actually that much money if you need those. We were actually able to do all the works ourselves though, so we just had to grind out the hole and clear the rubble to make sure that it was big enough to fit the fireplace. Before we started excavating the hole, we needed to make sure that we built a tile half on the bottom of the floor, and it's completely dependent how you want to do this. It's actually not something we'd ever done before, and there wasn't much information online about it. A guy that we spoke to, he did say that you would normally build it out sort of 18 inches from the wall, and that's sort of a good amount of tiles for the space. So as you can see, we've used black half tiles, and I'll link the ones below that we used. It was quite affordable, didn't cost us too much money. I just wanted to add something quite defining and grounding to the fireplace, and that would contrast really well with our mantelpiece. And we just added some black grout into the tiles just to finish the look. Once the hole had been ground out and the fireplace fitted, and we did make sure that it was able to go in successfully, and once it all fitted into place, we nailed the fireplace into the wall. We then added the mantelpiece on with nails, and we caulked around it to make sure that there was no spaces, and everything looked really neat and tidy. So that's our under £100 Victorian fireplace renovation, and I'm absolutely obsessed with the look. It's really created such a beautiful focal point in our living room as you walk in now, and it's just given it that little bit of a transitional feel in the space where I do mix my modern and my older pieces. I've also linked my blog post in the comments, which talks about the whole process with before and after pictures and plenty of more information if it's something you're looking to do in your own home. If you do have any questions about the process or anything you're not sure about, please do leave me a comment below and I'll come straight back to you. But if you enjoyed watching this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing you soon.